Hey guys, it's me, LO Ryvan, or Ryvan here, and today, for the third time, we are going over the skill build items. I kept placing things in the wrong spots or noticing things a little bit too late while recording this before, so hopefully this is the last time. We'll be going over this in a similar fashion to the primary one, and I will be including background music this time. It'll probably just be the same song looped over and over again. But that's just so the only thing you're hearing is not me just talking. I'm assuming since I'm going to be talking fast, that'll be a little bit awful, but we'll see. Anywho, we will go over from the bottom to the top, starting with not applicable items. These items are just items that I haven't used that much, so I can't really provide them a fair rating. These are all Pyramids of Prophecy and Moon Temple items, and so if you're just playing the base game, you will not see these that much, actually, you won't see them at all. So it shouldn't matter too much for anyone playing the base game. And if you're not playing the base game, the Queen's items are pretty much the same as the King items, probably, in terms of their counterparts. I don't know if there's anything specifically unique to the Queen set. And for the Waxing and Waning Crescent, as of right now, I'd probably put them in B tier, so that's kind of where I'm at. Anywho, we will move forward with the other items, and right before this video, from recording the other times without drinking anything, I've developed a sore throat, so please excuse me if I sound a little bit awful sometimes, and if anything else happens. But yeah, let's move on to the F tier items. So first in the F tier items, we've got the Symbol of Zeal, which you may not agree with. But my reasoning for this is you have to play around it. If it was just a flat bonus and a little bit weaker, I'd actually prefer this item a lot more, and I'd probably place it up in B or A tier. But because it's strong, but you have to play around it, I'm going to put it in F tier. You could argue D tier with me, but anything higher than that, I don't think I could go to. It is really good, but because you have to stand in a specific spot, I don't like it that much. Next we've got, I think pretty much all of the skill activated damaging projectiles. Blow dart, blow gun, I'm not sure. The magic missile stuff, the chakram. All of these release a projectile when you use an ability, but they all don't do that much damage, and they all are, well, the chakram may not be. I don't think the chakram's single target. So this may be a little bit better. This may be D tier, but all of these are not going to do significant damage compared to everything else you're doing. So that's why they're down here. I just don't think they make enough of an impact to be anything above F tier. But yeah, that's that. Then you've got my most hated item in the game, Defender's Halberd. I wish this didn't exist. I think if they were to change this item to make it better, what they would have to do is, and keep it practically the same, they could do two things. They could do, when you get hit, an area around you of enemies is disarmed, and it could even be in a cone in the direction you're facing, similar to the Paladin's primary attack. They could do that. They can make it a circle around you is disarmed, or they could just give you bonus damage to that target that got disarmed. All of these would improve this item and make it somewhat useful, and I would really like that change. Anywho, with it being as it is, it's F tier. I hate it. I don't want to see it ever again. It's just not very useful. Then we've got Mage Robe, which is good early game, but once you have enough mana to cast your abilities, this won't do too much for you, so I'm going to put an F tier. You could argue D tier for sure on this one. It's very close on the fence for me, personally. Guardian Statue, the statue that produces a Guardian that won't guard anything, because you'll probably still end up being dead. But it could save you, it could, so give it a chance, maybe. But honestly, this item is not that great. It's not that great. you could definitely argue for it, but it's not my favorite thing in the world, and it probably isn't yours either. Bloodthirst Ring is going to give you Vamp on your primary, which you won't be using that much, and it's not going to be substantial compared to the Vamp you'll be getting from Evil Infusion. Circle of Willpower is good, but you're going to lose out on a whole ton of damage. The one instance that I do see this being useful, I believe it's when your health goes lower, your abilities cost less, which means you are being attacked, you are about to die. But in normal circumstances, maybe you can't cast a spell to save yourself. But with this, maybe you can. That's the one argument I can make for it. But still, F tier. On to the D tier items. The first D tier item we have is the Amulet of Vengeance. I feel similarly about this than I do to Defender's Halberd, except combo is actually useful, unless you're running Markham's Moonshine, then it's not useful at all. But basically, granted you're not running Markham's Moonshine, this can save you, help you, whatever. It can be the thing that triggers your combo, which ultimately helps you out a whole ton to stay alive, so for that reason it's D tier. But not my favorite D tier item. This is leaning more towards the F side of D tier than it is the C side for me. But that's where I'm at for that one. You've got your physical pierce items here. These two are basically absolutely useless. If you're running a skill build, you're almost always doing predominantly, if not completely, magic damage. So these two will not be that useful. Then you've got reinforced and warding glove, or reinforced gloves and gloves of warding, which give you a flat block every X amount of seconds. And if it wasn't for the X amount of seconds, these would be very good, or if it was a lower X, basically. But as it stands, these are not my favorite items. They definitely can get you out of pinch if you're not taking damage too often. But other than that, not my favorite. Boots of the Giant are D tier. What happened to spiked boots? Oh, they're right there. Ooh, my eyes are not working. Spike boots are D tier because you're not going to want to walk through enemies to do damage to them. Boots of the Giant are D tier, but more on the C side of, well, between D and C basically, because the health they add is really useful. Then you've got Cloak of Many Pockets. Cloak of Many Pockets gives you gold gain, but you only need 25 items in an enhanced. Well, I guess actually, if you consider the fact that this can be enhanced too, this is okay. I just prefer Markham's Purse because it has a set effect. But yeah, this isn't my favorite item. I guess I'm being kind of biased here. You could argue C tier for this one, but I'm gonna put in D tier. But yeah, just gold gain. Ring of Health regen's not gonna save you. Anytime you're playing a mage, you have like 80 HP, you get hit like twice, you're dead. Health regen's not gonna save you from that. Paper's Nobility. This lowers your taxes when coming out of the run. This does nothing for you in the run, but it doesn't do as much nothing as the F tier items, in my opinion, so it's D tier. Shield Breaker is physical armor reduction, so you don't need it, but it can do some stuff for you, which is why it's here. Speaking of physical stuff, all of these next items are, hey, physical stuff. Damage on your primary attack, primary crit chance, attack speed on this guy. Now you've got a chance to bleed on primary and attack power. All of these are pretty much useless unless you get a lot of them, and then you can run a pseudo hybrid build, and in which case they're kind of okay. That is my opinion on those items. And without further ado, we're moving on to the C tier. Okay, C tier. We've got the Apothecary set. All these are really good. If you use potions, they're phenomenal. I always forget to use potions. If you are like me, they are C tier. If you are very good at using potions, they are probably B or A tier. But yeah, these are really good. if you get the Phoenix Feather, they're S tier. Otherwise, yeah, that's kind of their range. They're in between here and here. They're not here, here and here. They're really good if you pop your potions. They do lots of unique stuff for you and make your potions better. They also can increase the amount of potion charges you have. And if you have Nimbus from Pyramids of Prophecy, they can give you a little bit of damage spike too. Very, very little, in my opinion. Although honestly, I don't know how he scales. I know he gets extra damage when you beat Pyramids of Prophecy at higher NGs, but I don't know if he scales off of your skill power or not. I'd be interested to know. Anywho, next we've got the Curious items and Adventurer's Garb. These all add base stats, a fair amount of them, and they're all kind of okay for that reason. They're above D tier where they're not. I mean, this is pretty much anything that's average, so that's where they belong. Anything below this is not average. It's a little bit worse than average, so that's where these items stand. But these items are average. Same thing with Wrath of Thunder God and Mask of Bewilderment. I think they're both just average items. Nothing much to say about them, quite honestly. They do stuff, but it's not going to make a huge impact. But it's not going to hurt you in any way. And you don't really have to think about using it. Spell Tome gives you skill power. I put it here because later on in the game, this is probably F tier because you'll have so much spell power, this won't really matter. But otherwise, it's S tier or A tier at the start of the game because if you enhance it, 20 skill power is really good. Then you've got Cape of the Flamewalker, which is really good in some cases. In other cases, you could argue it's not. The reason it's C tier and not higher is because things have to be near you for this to work, which means you're at a direct threat. In the case of that, this can save you by critting and proccing combo, which gives you movement speed, which lets you get away. But that's my whole reason for this being C tier. If it had a wider range, maybe I could put it in B tier, but I don't even think that would fix it. I think it's just, you know, it's a C tier item. It's good, but it's not gonna do something so noticeable. You're like, wow, you know. Although I can very clearly remember times I have wowed at it. So next, you've got health and armor items. These are just good, but they're not super good. They're okay. Then you've got Keyring, Vendor's Coin, Fancy Plume. All of these are quality life items. Extra keys, cheaper items, more items. If you run into a million ace keys and find no ace chest, this does nothing for you. If you roll shops with nothing you want to buy, or everything's a D or F tier item, this does nothing for you, pretty much. Fancy Plume, same argument. This does nothing for you. But because you have this, you're more likely to encounter higher tier items. So for that reason, Fancy Plume is better on the terms of this. It's probably higher, closer to B tier than both of these. But yeah, it's a C tier item. Then you've got Seal of Martyr, which makes you do extra damage when you're losing health, when you're not losing health, when you have less health. Which is good because it can help you out when you're low, but you're not going to want to try to get low to proc this. This will help you sometimes, but other times it does nothing for you, which is why it's C tier. Descending Destruction, because it's so primary based, I put it down here. You could argue B tier for this one for sure, but this is where I feel it belongs. Old Map is just youthful, but doesn't do anything. It's like the pinnacle of being average. It is the star among the averages. It's like the exemplary average. Not much to say about this one. Just fills in your minimap for you. Yeah. And then all of these are primary based items that are a little bit stronger than these, in my opinion. Mainly because if you get a bunch of these but you have no attack power because you're not running Callus, these are all useless. But if you get one Sword of Kings and a few of these, you're pretty good. So that's why they're all up here. Or they do stuff like heal you. This one gives you skill power too. And this one gives you a fair amount of... I mean, they're all just kind of useful. But yeah, that's it for C tier. So next we'll be looking at B tier. Starting off the B tier very strong is the Lifestone. Lifestone gives you health when killing enemies. And since skill builds usually clear rooms very fast, this is going to give you lots of health. It's up here because it's above average, but I wouldn't say it's much above average. It's B tier. Spreading Corruption very similarly. It gives you tons of bonus damage, but to one target, so B tier. Markham's Purse and Stone are bonus gold and ore, which helps you get items, which, you know, I mean, that's B tier. More items, B tier. Hero's Unknown Frying Pan, I think is what this is called, and it blocks projectiles in an arc behind you. I don't know the angle. It's like 45 degrees, 30 degrees or something. Still very good, very good. Can save you very easily. I used to try to block projectiles with this and figure out the exact, like the mechanic of turning to block projectiles coming at me. It was a lot of fun for a little bit because the arc's kind of small. But yeah, that's Hero's Unknown Frying Pan. Then you've got all the monster pamphlets and monster manuals, which just give you bonus damage to monsters, and I believe they give you extra EXP gains, which is also nice. Chainmail is probably one of the worst items for armor. Honestly, this should be C tier. Probably put in B tier because, you know, it's C tier. Don't worry about it. You got Ring of Transmutation, I believe. Is this Duke's Signet? This is Duke's Signet. Right? This is Duke's Signet. This is Ring of Transmutation. Duke's Signet will save you sometimes. It'll save your runs. Unlike Guardian Statue, this can save you. May not, it may. Usually saves you in a trap room. And mobs probably won't save you. Then you've got all the items that give you extra damage to mobs, which are pretty good. They also do other stuff like ore drops, health drops, mana drops, and extra damage when casting skills, I think. This one's debatably A tier for that, but I put in B tier because I'm not super familiar with it. Then you got Medusa's whatever the heck, head, something. This gives you extra damage in a cone, but it's physical damage, which means it's useless, but it does slow down enemies, so it's B tier. It's better than C tier, I think. But it's very debatably C tier, it's just slightly above C tier. Seeing Sabaton's kind of similar case. I think you can get a lot of use out of this, a lot more than Cape of the Flamewalker, but I don't think it's good enough to be A tier, so it's B tier. Judgment. I love Judgment, okay? Just give me this one. It's above average, gives you % health damage on your primary, extra damage on your primary. I know I'm saying primary a lot, and this is a skill build guide video, but it's better than a C tier because it's amazing, and you can do a ton of damage with just this, okay? Okay. Stormcaller, another primary item, okay, but hear me out. This scales well with skill builds, and you can get a lot of use out of it. Blackjack and Gladiator's Net are always going to be high in my heart and high for you guys because stuns and disarms are amazing for preventing damage, and for that sole reason they're B tier. Talisman of Decay would be placed higher up, but because enemies have to be near you, it's B tier. And Scare Protection, which was higher in the primary build video, even though we weren't building skill power, is down here because we're not burning anymore, so we're not proccing it constantly and firing poison darts all over it all the time. But yeah, that's it for B tier. So let's move on to A tier. Starting off with Chainmail, Knight's Helmet, whatever the heck, Full Plate Mail or something, Armor Kings, Amulet of Resistance, King's Amulet. Amulet of Kings is what it's called, actually. Robe of the Archmage. All these add defensive stats. They all add armor resistance, and they're all very important for living, and they're all A tier items. Pretty self-explanatory, but these just help you not die. And ultimately, you know, your goal is kind of, you know, not dying. Therefore, these are A tier. Alright, perfect. Cloak of whatever the heck and Firm Buckler. These give you a % chance to block a minute amount of damage, but it is a % chance, not a flat, with a cooldown. So these are A tier for me. I just really like these items. These may be B tier to some other people, but for me they're A tier. 10% chance to block projectiles on the pot helm. That is incredible, and it is A tier. Talisman of Conflagration lets things explode when they die, which makes your skills that clear rooms even more room clearing. Very attractive item. Pretty impressive. Great pick overall. Scepter of Kings. This bad boy gives you 40 skill power, which becomes 80 if you enhance it, which is really nice. But yeah, I'd definitely give A tier on this one. All of the combo orbs. One thing I will note about these is this tier list is not based on enhancing, it's based on buying and stuff that you get in your runs. I would not put these here for enhanced value, but they are definitely here for run value, because all the orbs add either combo bonus damage if you're running combo build, or if you're running Markins, they're going to add 10% bonus damage, each one of them. If you manage to get all 10, you are literally immune to death. That's right, immune to death. Kind of, as long as you're in combo. Okay. Anywho, these are all really great items, and they're A tier. Not too much to say about any particular one of them. I think the best is the Spheres of Time in terms of if you're running combo build, because they're going to give you tons of time, which if you're immune to death, or you're getting tons of bonus stats from combo, lets you bridge the gap better, so they're really good for that reason. But yeah, then you've got Lantern of Light, which lets you do extra damage in terms of magic to enemies in your little cone, which is great. Also part of the Instruments of the Ghostbuster set, which makes you do extra damage to those. Oh, jeez, aberrations. Ah, that's it. All right. Really good item overall, though. Really good item. So it's A tier. Seal of Souls, debatably S tier, but it does have a cap on the amount of damage it can give you, so I'd put A tier. This basically gives you more damage as you're missing mana. Well, you're spamming out abilities, so you're losing mana, so your abilities are hitting harder, which gives you more health, which gives you more damage. Or, well, it doesn't give you more damage, but the losing mana part does. But yeah, really good item. Earth Splitter, you know, this is debatably at the same place as Stormcaller, but I prefer it as an item. If you're playing Warlock, or if you're playing Priest, or like an up-close skill build, this will be very powerful. If you're playing long range, it will not be as powerful, but if you're playing close up, this is a very, very powerful item. Bomb Pouch gives you a ton of damage for how low of a quality it is, so quality of an item it is, so for that reason it's here. Sandals of Swiftness are Evade and Movement Speed. Movement Speed is critical, but it's not that much. And Evade is also critical, but it's not that much. I think because it tries to be a jack of two trades, it's not as good at either of them, and that's why it's down here. Crown of Kings is beautiful. It's beautiful, there's no doubt, it's amazing. My one thing I will say is I had a level 20, I think, wizard. I think it was 20. And that boy had 80 HP or something. So increasing that by 50% puts him at, 120. Ooh, that's not that much still. For that sole reason, he's here. Then we've got Tower Shield. Tower Shield is just a very good firm buckler. I wish we had one of these for magic damage. I don't think we do, but I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever encountered one, and I don't think there's one in the game. But this is a 25% chance to block. These are 25% chance to block 5. This is a 25% chance to block 25. It's very good. Wand of Chaos randomly fires off, does tons of damage. I think it goes through walls. Does 100 damage, pierces. It's great. It's great. Great item for skill builds. Ring of Mana, Ring of Greater Rejuvenation, Ring of Rejuvenation, all here for mana regen purposes. If you don't have mana regen problems like I constantly seem to have, D tier, F tier, maybe. F tier if you don't have regeneration problems, these are useless. F tier. F tier if you don't have it. If you do have it, these are great. And if you kind of have it, they're C tier. I mean, simply put. A Mana Stone. This will give you your mana back after you clear a room. It won't actually give you all your mana back, but it'll give you some mana back. Great item. Skill cooldowns. This is the difference between having 2 little floaty orbs spewing out icicles on the sorcerer and having 3. Although I don't know if this item exactly gives you that on the dot. It'll put you closer to it. Markham's Wand is skill power per item, which is phenomenal. Similar to Scepter of Kings, it's just here for the pure amount of skill power it can give you. Boots of Freedom I put here because I find that skill builds, basically, they have a lot of movement issues. Simply put, they're not fast enough, they get slowed too much and they die. You know, when you're playing Thief, you get slowed, you grapple out, you're gone. You're playing Paladin, you dash out, you're gone. You're playing Archer, you spin and get fast and you're gone. But on skill builds, yeah, you don't usually have that. So for that reason, Boots of Freedom are up here. They're also a really good Thunder Snow item, but just in general, they're really good. Yeah. Coated Arrow is a primary base item, but if you're running O's Wrath, which you probably will be, this gives you tons of flat bonus damage on a target you can pick and choose. That's critical. Yeah, I think this is really good. And next we move on to the S tier items. First and foremost, we have the Wand of Spell Piercing, which is great. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. Adds 30%, well, not 30%. I believe it's 15% twice, I think, of ignore resistance all the time. It's not like Mage Bane, you don't have to proc it. It's all the time. It's great item. Then you got Phoenix Feather, aka as long as you have potions, you cannot die. That's all the explaining you have to do, and you can't die. Yet again, your goal, not die. Item, make you not die. Equals good. It's just simple math, everyone. Simple math. Simple math. Then you got Pen of Penance, which, quite honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I have this here because I did not move it after doing my primary build video, and I only noticed it just now. So I'm kind of evaluating in my head where I'd place it. I don't think I do S tier, because you're not going to be constantly burning. But I can definitely see some benefits to it. I think I'd probably put it in B tier. I'm going to move it down there now, and hopefully no one asks me why it's an S tier. Because we went over it pretty fast in the S tier video, or S tier part of this video. And yeah, hopefully no one comments on that. Next, Dragon Scale Mail. Ooh, another item that makes you not die. Fantastic. Why do we have Bracers of Quickness up here too? This is probably A tier, honestly, because you can make tons of use out of this. I am sorry, I'm a mess. Dragon Scale Mail gives you percent damage reduction, which is phenomenal. And with that comes lots of, you know, not dying yet again. Very beautiful. Next we have the 3 luck items. These are really good because they help you crit, they help you dodge, they help you do other things that are percent based. They're just really great. And then you've got the new item, Dragon's Tail, which is also S tier for primaries. Reason it's up here is gold equals damage equals happy me, honestly, because you get tons of gold on lots of runs. I've had runs where I have 1,000,000+ gold, and if I ran a run like that with this, I'd be doing so much extra damage. Next we've got all the other 3 evade items, which are universally good because they help you dodge, which helps you drop bombs, which helps if you have this. It works really well with luck. It's just a really good survival item to have. You got Spirit Cloak, yet again, another survival item, kind of a similar running theme here. Then we got Mage Bane, which is primary based yet again, but the percent resistance it removes is absolutely massive, so you honestly cannot ignore this item. It is huge. Then you've got Soul Taker, which basically your room clear gets doubled. That's kind of crazy to even think about. But yeah, mages clearing rooms twice as fast. Huh. Interesting. Then you've got your skill crit items, which are great because they give you, well, they give you skill crit, which makes you proc combo, which makes you do extra damage, and your crits do tons of damage, so they're really good. I'll be honest with you, I know Wilmer's Wand removes the movement speed thing, I cannot fathom what the other thing is. Maybe it's skill power, but this is just really good just for the movement speed removal. Imagine playing priest and constantly casting your right click, or playing wizard and constantly using your fire breath, or not having to pause when you're playing wizard and casting your final ability. I mean, the implications this weapon has for skill builds is, I mean, it's absolutely immense. This is a really, really good item. Ring of Arcane Prowess. This has a chance when casting ability on a cooldown, I believe, I think it's 5 seconds, I could be wrong, to fully restore your mana. Yeah, you heard me right. Fully restore your mana. This is huge. If you get to the point that you have like a NG 100 sorcerer, I'm sure this is absolutely useless because you can just permanently cast all your abilities. But until you hit NG 100, which I'm assuming none of you have done, and even then, maybe it's still a problem. I don't know. I don't have a reference point. Until you hit that point, Ring of Arcane Prowess is beautiful, and you should respect it as an item. It's great. Ring of Transmutation. Ooh, when you lose health, you gain mana. Ooh, but what does Evil Infusion do? When you lose health, when casting a spell. Direct translation. When you cast a spell, you lose health, you gain mana, but only after using your mana, so you gain mana after casting spell, but then, because your spell hits things, you heal, which then makes you have full health to lose a greater percentage when using Evil Infusion, which equals more mana on the next cat. You get the point. Mana. Beautiful. Same argument as Arcane Prowess. If you don't have mana potions or problems, this is not an issue, but otherwise it's great. Then you've got the 2 Boots of Speed, which look really, really dunky here. Dinky is the word I was looking for, but my brain did not translate. But yeah, movement speed, as I said, is a problem I feel like a lot of skill builds have. So for that sole reason, that's why these are here. I think they help out with a ton with that. And then same thing with Grease the Barbarian, keep withdrawal. Killing enemies gives you movement speed, getting hit gives you movement speed. These will both keep you running around in case you need to. And Markham's Amulet. This one's a disputable one. I don't know how I feel about this, but I put it up in S tier because I felt like it may belong. Basically, my reasoning is if you're playing a wizard and you have this enhanced, this thing is phenomenal early game, and I get that late game this will be useless. But I think for a lot of mages, when you struggle with health and mana at the start of the game, this is just phenomenal. While it may not help as much as with mana as Crown of Kings does, which is super important, I think a big thing I have a problem with when I play mages is I just have a hard time surviving. So defensive items like Markham's Amulet place really high on my list. But yeah, that's it. That's the entire list of all my rankings. I know I screwed up twice, but that's not too bad. And I think it's on 2 items that you guys will recognize don't belong in S tier. So I think it's fine. I hope it's fine, and I hope you guys don't mind my blunder too much. On that note, however, this is the end of the video. I think I've covered everything I did want to say. You know, I would love to claim a lot of effort went into this video, but I created this list of all these items forever ago, so realistically I just had to drag and drop everything. But I would appreciate a like if you did like the video, and if you did not like it, please feel free to let me know why, and leave a dislike. I mean, I'd be more than welcome to hear your opinions. I hope you did find it helpful though, and if you're looking for more information like this, you can probably find most of it on my channel. I think I've covered almost everything there is to cover in terms of information on Here's a Hammerwatch. There's some stuff I'm sure I haven't covered yet, or some stuff that may be outdated, but I don't think so. But if you have any questions or comments or anything regarding anything Here's a Hammerwatch or anything in this video, please leave them down below. Any suggestions or anything like that, please leave a comment down below for that too. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your Friday. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Yet again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, bye guys.